preparing. Thank you for joining us today, everybody. Appreciate it. Okay, we are good to go. Looks like we are live on YouTube. I'm gonna quickly check one more thing so that I can keep track of any YouTube questions we might have. How's everyone doing today? If you want to let us know how you're doing. I am still drinking my coffee, so I'm still waking up, even though it's already like 11 here. What about you, JJ?
Drinking my water,
Water.
staying hydrated. It's summer here, so we're trying to stay hydrated as much as possible. So, yeah.
Whatever, JJ. Whatever. Not you attacking me. I'll drink water too.
Ah, I mean, there is water in coffee, so you get the best of both. Well, you get that good caffeine and also the good water in it. So,
You're
yeah.
funny. Okay,
Yeah.
we're live on YouTube. I am going to keep the chat off today. If you guys have questions, just leave it in the Q&A tab, or if you want to interact with us, please leave it in the Q&A tab as well. I'm just going to keep the chat disabled for today. With that, I see a few names that I do not recognize. So for those that are just joining us, or if it's your first webinar that you're joining, hello. Welcome. My name is PJ Gurung. I am the Assistant Director for Strategic Communications and Recruitment here at the Kearney International Center. And my role involves a lot around sending you guys communications via emails, helping with application processing, and also all of these pre-arrival webinars and setting these up. We do as a team, like JJ, we have Violet that's not here with us today, Alyssa, we all do work together as a team to ensure that you guys get the most accurate and up-to-date information in terms of pre-arrival, what to expect, what to prepare, and all of the fun stuff. Today's topic, though, is a little sad. It's what to do if your visa gets denied. It's not going to be, I don't think it'll take the full hour, so there likely will be some time at the end of the session for Q&As. So if you leave any questions, we will not get to it until the end of the session unless it's really relevant. With that, I will ask JJ to introduce themselves and their role and all that.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much, PJ, for that nice introduction. Welcome, students. Very glad for you guys are here today. We counting the days. It's about almost just like about a month and a half, and then you will be here for the ones who have visa, for the ones still chasing, I would say, the appointments. You have time, so make sure all your documents are correct, and then you will be able to get a visa interview. These sessions we have been doing for a while. PJ has been doing a great job informing you guys everything that you need to know, that that we don't get to this session that your visa get denied, but definitely there's something. If it happens, the session will be really good for you to know what will be the next step. That's not the end of the world that your visa gets denied. So there is obviously different like solution and also steps that you have to take if this happens, basically. And like Peter said, my name is JJ Martina. I'm the Assistant Director of International Recruitment and Enrollment. So I oversee all that has to do with fairs, partnerships, agents. I work with different high school counselors from all over the world. Um, and then, of course, I help with the admission part, specifically help you with all the steps that you need to take in order to get your admission here at Mankato. And I work very close with our athletics, so a lot of with our student athletes also, who are students who are coming to do sports here. So very broad, I would say, work that I do. Love the work I do. I'm a former international student, just like PJ too, and I was a former student athlete. So I definitely have a lot of experience and expertise to bring to your table. So hopefully you guys will enjoy this session. And then again, if your visa get denied, that doesn't mean anything. Just take your step that you're gonna learn today, and then you will become successful. So thank you.
Thank you for introducing yourself, JJ, and for also like mentioning that the visa denial is not the end of the world. We will kind of go over and reflect on what your visa interview was like. This will be a good time for you to really sit down and reflect on the interview, what kind of questions they asked, what answer did you give. I will give you guys some tips and tricks, but ultimately it comes down to you taking the time to prepare and being confident on the day of your interview. If any of you want to share what happened during your interview, why you think you got rejected, if you're comfortable sharing, you can always leave it in the Q&A tab, and we can kind of discuss that if you're comfortable. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly before I say anything else. Full screen. You can see me okay? See my screen okay, JJ?
Yep, I can see your screen.
Okay. I feel like we've used this photo a lot in all of our pre-arrival stuff, but for those that don't know, this is the Centennial Student Union. As it says in the title itself, Student Union. So this is where we have our cafeteria. This is where students study. We do a lot of events in this specific building. We have a big room called the ballroom, and that's where we do all of our big events during the year. So this is a part of campus that you're going to be in a lot. All right, on the agenda today, we'll talk about some important terms and types of refusals, what the role of the visa officer is and why that's important in this context, strategies for your next interview, and we will also share some helpful resources for you. Okay. Some important terms to recognize and remember are, as you see on the screen, there is an immigrant visa, non-immigrant visa, and F1 visa. Does anybody in the chat want to let us know what they think are the difference between a non-immigrant and an immigrant visa? You can if you want to. I just see a question, but I think, okay, we will get to it then in a bit here. For those that don't know, an immigrant visa, like it says in the title, is a visa issued to a person to immigrate to the US to become a lawful permanent resident and remain in the US for an indefinite amount of time. So it means if you're applying for an immigrant visa, it means you plan to stay in the US permanently, and you do not plan to return back to your own country. Now, the non-immigrant visa is the exact opposite. It's a temporary visa for a person to be in the US for a specific purpose and a specific amount of time. The F1 visa, which is the visa that you will be applying for as a student wanting to study in the US, it falls under the non-immigrant visa type with a specific purpose, which again, like I mentioned, is to study for a specific amount of time, which is the duration of your program and completion of any benefits such as OPT. For students that are doing masters, it's 2 years. For F1, like undergraduate students, that's 4 years, typically the timeline. So the non-immigrant visa, the F1 visa falls under the non-immigrant visa category, which is very important to understand and distinguish before you go into your visa appointment. Now, there are two types of refusals that you will likely get if you get refused for your visa. So the first one is the 214B of the Immigration and National US National Act, which in its essence is a type of refusal that's given to someone who couldn't convince the visa officer that you will be returning to your home country after you finish your program. Just to like keep it very simple. The 221G of the Immigration and National Act, however, is an administrative processing denial, which means you are going to be required to submit requested documentations, or you did not fully complete the visa application and or provide all supporting documentations. So if you've been denied your visa and you're looking at either of these, if you've gotten the 214B, that tells you that when you were doing the interview, your visa officer was not fully convinced that you plan to return to your home country after you finish your program, which again is the biggest ultimate thing with F1 visa is you're just here to study. So if you got the 214B, it means your visa officer was not convinced. The 221G means you will be required to submit requested documentations, which they will let you know. Let's talk about the role of visa officers. The visa officer's role is to assume that you have intent to stay in the US unless you prove otherwise. So when you go into the visa interview and you're sitting down for your F1 interview, their automatic assumption is this student is going to stay in the US after they finish their degree and they do not plan to come back. So that's their job. That's the role that they have, is to assume that you have intention to violate terms of your visa or misuse your visa for other purposes, that is, remain in the US, right? So they will be looking for red flags about your intentions in the US. So do you have enough finances to pay for the cost of your program? Did something happen with your sponsor and now you cannot afford to stay in the US? Remember, you're here to study in the US. So if you don't have the finances to study in the US, why would they give you a visa? Intend to stay in the US after your program. So it could be something you said during your interview, which implied that you're going to be looking for permanent residency in the US. No clear reason as to why you're studying in the US rather than your home country or another country. So if the visa officer says, well, why do you want to study in the US? And you say, you don't really give a concrete answer of just like actually giving valid points as to why, they're not going to believe that you want to stay, like that you're here in the US to just study. No clear ties to your home country. This we will discuss a little bit further after a couple of slides. So please hold tight. No clear path for your future career. A lot of times, sometimes visa officers will ask, so what are your plans after you get your degree? What answer did you give? Fraudulent documents. If you have submitted fraudulent documents and they know that you've submitted fraudulent documents, you're not going to get your visa. So make sure that the documents that you're submitting are truthful and honest and reflect what you possess when it comes to sponsors, bank statements. Lying on your DS-160 or during the visa interview is also a big red flag that they will be noticing and will cause for a denial in your visa appointment. JJ, do you have any other points at all to mention as you look at this?
Yes, yes, I do. So I think definitely, as you're looking at the list that PJ mentioned, pay very good attention on each of them, because the visa officer will be very, very critical. Right now, even with the what's going on in the US, and we gotta, mention the elephant in the room, as they say in the United States. You gotta be more careful. You gotta be more concise. You gotta be more prepared, because now, all U.S. embassies are even more stricter. They're gonna look at documents more stricter, so you make sure your passport, your documents are on point. Um, and come prepare, be confident in what you're doing, why you want to go to the US. You know that the US provides really great education for you, but make sure that you have a plan. As I'm saying this, sometimes, you're just gonna be discovering yourself when you come here, but you gotta at least make a plan, that, why you're going to the US, you gotta have a goal. And if this visa officer doesn't see that, it's gonna create doubts, and that's gonna be a big part of a visa denial. So, being confident in yourself and have a plan why you go into the US, and then make sure that you're doing accurate things about having your documents in place. That's very, very important. So specifically nowadays, that the visa, U.S. embassies are even more stricter when it comes to study in the U.S. because, like PJ mentioned, different type of visas that you can get. You are going on an F1 visa, which is temporary to just study. So that's mainly what you have to talk about. You have to talk about education. So that's the mainly important part about it. So yeah, PJ, you're muted.
I just put up the poll. Okay, so it looks like you guys understand the difference now between an immigrant and a non-immigrant visa. So thank you very much for clarifying that further, JJ, because I think a lot of times when you're answering questions, you have to be very, very mindful of how you're phrasing sentences. And we'll talk about that a little bit more. We have some sample examples for you to use, but ultimately, you do not want your answers to sound robotic. You do not want them to sound like you memorize them, because you should not be memorizing your answers. You need to give an authentic answer that's true to yourself and what your goal is. So I'm going to end this poll. Looks like a lot of you guys did answer yes to this, so that is good. So I'm going to move forward. So reflect on your interview. If you have a paper and pen with you right now, feel free to grab it and go down these questions with us. So write down what questions they asked and your answers so you remember what happened. What did the visa officer ask? What did you say? And why do you think you were refused? So start with the question that they asked. To your best ability, if you remember, sometimes you black out during these interviews and you don't remember what you said. But if you remember what you said, write it down. I need to sneeze. Hold on. Maybe not. I thought I was going to sneeze. What did you say? And then ultimately, if you were given a refusal, why do you think you were refused? If you can't think of a reason, that's okay for now. But generally, there usually is something that the visa officer might have picked up on that could have caused a refusal. Strategies for your next visa interview. You must be able to present evidence of significant changes in circumstances since your last visa interview. So, which is why this activity is very important, because it will help you kind of sit down and actually really think about what your answer was, what you could have added to your answer to make your answer more convincing. Sometimes when we answer things, we might not add important, because we'll go to it in a bit. Actually, I'm speaking too fast, but this is very important. Reflecting on your interview is very, very important. So, how do you present evidence of significant changes in circumstances then? Recognize your highlights and hurdles to study in the US. For example, you're a strong academic student but have limited finances. How you will overcome your financial limitations is a great thing to add to your answers during your interviews. If you already have a scholarship, that's very important to highlight, right? For all of our international students that are coming in, you guys automatically get a scholarship, which is the International Maverick Scholarship. Bring that up. Say, hey, I have a sponsor, and the sponsor is willing to pay this much to cover my tuition. And thankfully, Minnesota State University Mankato also has given me a scholarship called the International Maverick Scholarship. Stuff like that is important to bring up. You are well funded, but are admitted to the intensive English program. So if you applied for your undergraduate degree here and you didn't meet the qualifications and you're admitted to the intensive English program, how will you communicate your intentions to the visa officer about your next steps after that? This is very important as well. Communicate your story and give concrete examples. So if you see on the screen right now, we have two examples. I am studying a bachelor's in biomedical sciences, so I can pursue my master's and eventually work for a medical research lab in my home country to develop advanced technology. I really like this answer because what does it say? It says, this is my academic goal. This is what I want to do. This is the experience that I want in the US. And then I will bring that experience back to my home country and advance medical technology in my home country. It emphasizes intent to return to your home country. The second one, for example, I am studying at Minnesota State Mankato. It has strong medical program and undergraduate research opportunities and small class sizes. I was also awarded a scholarship, which helps make this an affordable program. As you can see, those two sentences, it's literally two sentences, but it mentions what you like about the university, multiple things, what you like about your program, and what you want to achieve with your program. And then also how you're going to be affording university, because it can get expensive. So it's the scholarship pieces in here. Now, this is just for you to use as a template. This is not for you to like completely take and use for yourself, because the reason for your wanting to come to the US could be very different than someone who's doing a biomedical program. For me, when I came here for my undergraduate in psychology, a big part of me wanting to come to the US for that degree was because I really wanted hands-on research opportunities, which I wasn't able to get back in my hometown in Nepal. And so Minnesota State University Mankato really stood out to me because of very strong research opportunities, small class sizes once you hit your major courses. Um, the town, Mankato in general, when I looked it up when I was still in my home country, Mankato, I looked up videos of what the town is like, what the population of the town is like, and I realized that this is a smaller town, which really fits with my vision and idea of what I want my study environment to look like. I am a city person myself, but I knew that I needed to be in a smaller town so that I could focus more on academics versus going out and having fun, which is very important as a student. It's very important that you're still making time for self-care and going out. However, for me, I just wanted to be in a small town. So I had very specific reasons as to why I chose Minnesota State University Mankato, and that is exactly what I portrayed in my visa interview. Now, remember, my visa interview was like 3 minutes long at most. I don't know how long yours was, JJ. Do you remember?
I think mine was less than 2 minutes. They
Yeah.
just asked me two questions and that's it.
Yeah, so there can be instances where a visa officer only asks you two questions, one question. I got asked a few questions, but again, my answers were very specific as to why I wanted to come to the US. And because I knew what I wanted to do, it was easier for me to convince the visa officer that this is what I want to do. Like, whether I don't know what else you want me to say. So this is important. So as you're sitting down and thinking about why you were interviewed, like why you were denied, reflect on these questions. Did you really bring up points? So if you are a master's student and you're coming here for a master's program and you got a graduate assistantship, talk about that. That's very important. Because it's not easy to get a graduate assistantship. So if you have that, highlight that in an interview. As an undergraduate, you automatically get a scholarship, highlight that. So things like that. So again, as I'm saying everything that I'm saying here, I'm going to move on to ties to your home country. Because remember, your F1 visa is a non-immigrant visa, which means you are telling them that you want to return to your home country after you're done with your program. So here are a few reasons for you to return to your home country after you complete your program in the US. So is it friends and family? Are all of your family back home in your home country? And are you the only child in your family? Because culturally, in some cultures, the child is expected to take care of their parents. So would you have to return for that? Um, Coming to the US is a big step. If you don't have any friends in the US, do you want to come back to your home country because you have friends there and you just want to feel more connected with them? Career opportunities, do you already have a job offer lined up for you after you graduate? Because some people do already have a job offer and you might be returning for that. Or continuing education. Do you want to come back to your home country and do your master's? What are the vibes? You know? I know someone raised their hand. Um, so I will, Jihad, I know you just raised your hand and I did see your question. Um, I will get to that. We will get to that at the end of the session, but I did see your question. We have a few questions actually, and we'll get to those.
Yeah.
How do you demonstrate this? Visa officers will never directly ask you about your ties. Sometimes they will ask, so I have some questions here for you. What are your plans after you finish school? That is a pretty direct question as to, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to come back? That is a pretty direct question. Not all visa officers will ask this question. I don't, I got asked this question though. JJ, did you?
I did get asked this
Yeah,
question, why
I
do you
got
want to
asked this
study in the US?
question.
Yeah, that's a general one that typically
Yeah,
they start with. Yeah.
and this is a pretty direct question. So identify your ties before the interview. Show the visa officer your plans to leave the US and go back to your home country. Give concrete and specific intentions of your study. Visa officers, again, will not ask you directly about your ties. Everything you answer should point directly to that. And so giving concrete examples and thinking of concrete examples and your vision and your goals for the future is very important. These are some helpful resources for your visa interview. I have another slide actually. Okay. Um, the first two are paid options. The last one on the list, as you see, you can schedule a visa prep with a current MSU student. That one you can
Let's
still
do that.
schedule. We do have limited availability for this because it is summertime and not all of our students are on campus. So if you are looking for a free visa prep session with a current international MSU student, go to that link and sign up right now. Again, like I mentioned, this is for a very limited time. And it's also summer, so we don't have all of our students in the US at university right now to be doing this. We do have some availability right now, so the sooner you book these, the better. If you do book for these sessions, please do show up. It's really hard when you guys, if students sign up and they don't show up, we have a student that's waiting for you to show up. And this has happened a few times. So if you're watching this and you're going to schedule a visa prep session, please show up. If you're unable to make it to your visa appointment, just send us an email so we know that you're not going to be attending. However, if you continuously book a visa prep session with us and you continuously don't show up, we are going to be denying you with any visa prep session if you're going to continuously do that. So please be mindful of our students' time because they are taking time out of their summer to do this session for you. But if you
Yeah.
wanted to book a session, it is available right now, but just please be mindful and respectful of our students' time as well.
Yeah, these sessions are very useful for
Yeah.
you because it's actually student to student, and you will be talking to students who might have just gotten their visa last year or 2 years ago or very recently. That they are working with all the students here on a campus, so they know, how to talk to the visa officers and what they went through, and you can hear from a student itself. So definitely, these visa prep sessions are very useful for you. These students are very knowledgeable in this topic, so definitely take advantage of this.
Definitely. And then the first two are, again, not affiliated with us, but they do have like an F1 course that are prepared by former US officers. Argo Visa, though, has very helpful free YouTube videos. So if you don't want to pay that big sum, as you see on the screen, it's a large amount of money for us. Go to their YouTube. They have a lot of very useful playlists as well. NAFSA's 10 top visa points to remember is also very helpful. It goes over, again, what we're discussing right now, but a lot more in depth, and they have more expanded definitions and explanations of things. So definitely do that. I'm going to go back to what I was doing earlier. So these are some questions that will likely be the ones that you get asked. So why do you want to study in the US and at this university? What are your academic goals in the US? Did you apply to any other schools? This question, be honest. Did you apply to 4, 5, 6? It's okay to be honest about that. Who will be paying for your studies? Be upfront and honest about who your sponsor is. What are your plans after you finish school? Point to returning back home. Ties to your home country. What is your motivation to return after completing your education? Um, Again, JJ, if you have anything to add, please feel free to chime in whenever.
Yeah, I mean, those questions are, the basic ones that they typically ask, but sometimes, like for example, for the visa prep session, they might ask you some tricky question too. So sometimes you have to be prepared based on the question that they ask because, they try to test you out. They try to see how confident you are in doing this. And sometimes tricking question can be a factor of a visa denial because the student didn't feel as confident to answer the question in the proper way. So just another tip too, so you can attend this visa prep session because we will prepare you too for these trick questions and how to answer them. So the visa officer don't get you, confused and out of balance that you get too nervous and cannot answer the question properly. So just another tip I have about tricky questions.
Definitely. So think about that. Think about what JJ said. Reflect on your interview. And as you're rescheduling your visa interview, these are the steps that you're going to take. If you're looking at the global wait times and you see that there are no appointments available, because you do have to be in the US for orientation
August
by
18th,
August 17th, the latest,
17th,
because
18th. Yeah.
orientation is August 18th. Yep. So August 18th through Friday, August 22nd is when orientation is. So you must arrive on or before August 17th. However, the first day to enter the US is July 19th, 2025. So it would have to be on July 19th or after and before August 17th. Now, if you're looking at visa appointments and there is literally no visa appointments available at the moment, it is okay to defer your application. Our deferral process is very simple. I can add that into the chat for you guys towards the end of the session, so you have the link, but deferring is very simple. And then you can request an updated I-20. We can send that to you as you're waiting for your visa appointment. However, if you're in a country where visa F1 appointments are more easily available, please complete these steps. You do have to fill out the DS-160 again and pay that $185 visa fee. For the day of your interview, again, if you've already gone through the visa process and the visa interview, you know what you need to do. Dress for success, eat a good meal beforehand, and have your documents organized. If you've already gone through the process and been denied, it's very normal and common to feel dejected and like you're not doing something right. However, this is where it's important for you to be very confident in yourself, in your capabilities, and in your answers, and know that you can do this. Believe in yourself, think about your answers, and then go from there. Oh, you just sent it to the hosts. Let me enable it so you can send it to
Yeah,
everyone.
send it to everyone. So I just send
Yep,
it
there
to
you
you so
go.
you can put it. Perfect.
Very important to take these documents with you. Your I-20, passport, CVIS I-901 fee receipt, visa application fee payment, photo for visa if you weren't able to upload your photo under the S-160, admission letter, bank statements, academic transcripts, proof of English proficiency, and finally documentation of ties to your home country. If you have a family business that you're taking over because you're coming here for a business administration major and your family has a business and you're taking that over, it's okay to bring something that kind of shows that. For example, finally, just take a deep breath. Visa interviews are typically, again, 2 to 3 minutes in length. I think mine was about 2, maybe 3. But I remember how nervous I was and how scary it was, so I totally understand how it is. I was very scared. Some final things before we start answering your questions. Attendance is mandatory for orientation. Orientation dates, again, are on the screen. We are very excited to meet you. We're hopeful that everything goes well. Sorry, I'm just writing something down before I forget it. Okay, perfect. And then we do have some other upcoming webinars for you. June 24th, next week. It is next week, yes, at 1 p.m. We will have someone from registration come to the webinar and they will be kind of taking over and talking about registration. If you're unable to attend the 1 p.m. one, we have another one on June 26th at 9 a.m. June 30th, we have a travel to Mankato. So if you already have your visa, you can join this session, or if you are, you can still join us regardless, because it'll help you get prepped into how to get to Mankato from the airport and all the fun stuff. July 17th, we will have another visa prep session. More information is on your KIC portal. Please register for these. Upcoming Instagram lives. Someone actually reached out to me, JJ, about asking us when we're doing another Instagram live.
Hey.
So we will be doing another one on the 27th at 11 a.m. Central Time. And
We
this
will
is
be
a time,
back.
yeah, and we're able to answer questions a lot quicker during these because we're not doing a session. We're just chatting, having a good time. You guys get to know us better. Me, JJ, Violet are usually there. You guys get to know us better. We get to know you better. And we're also able to answer questions a lot quicker because it's more of a conversation. So This is what the pre-arrival calendar looks like. You were sent this calendar to your MSU email, so make sure you get to that. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now, and we can get to some of the questions.
Okay, so
All right, so unfortunately, my visa got denied a couple of days ago. Master's in TESOL with a teaching assistantship. I don't know whether this has something to do with the administration about banning citizens from countries. I believe I did well. I don't know why this happened. So frustrating. What should I do? Reapply or defer my offer? Would that be possible? And the denial comes under Act 214B. So the 214B tells me that the visa officer was not fully convinced that you would be returning to your home country. If you are able to get another visa appointment soon, I would do that. If you're afraid that you might not be able to get a visa appointment sooner, I would encourage you to reach out to the department that provided you with that TA offer and ask if they're able to like defer your offer and kind of explain your situation to them as well and say, hey, this is what happened. I went to an interview, this is what happened, and what can we do moving forward? Because I really want to attend your program and I really want this teaching assistantship. It never hurts to ask. Again, it's really hard for us to say if it is because of what's happening, like the result is what's happening because of what's happening, or if there are other reasons. But because they've given you the 214B, I think it'd be very crucial for you to think about the questions they asked you and take what the advice and tips that we gave you into refining your answers a little bit better so that when you go back, you're much more prepared. I'm really sorry that your visa got denied. It's not, again, it's very frustrating and it's not fun when that happens, obviously, but definitely see if you can get another visa appointment if you're able to. Deferring is pretty simple. Otherwise, you will have to reach out to graduate department, the graduate admissions department, because JJ and I primarily work with undergraduate admissions.
yeah.
Okay, Jihad
Yeah.
says, if I work in the Ministry of Education, is it okay to say that I want to pursue a master's to teach at a university, or will that sound like something irrelevant to the place that I'm working in the ministry? What about talking about mentioning pursuing a PhD after the master's as a long-term plan?
I can answer that, PJ.
Mhm.
I mean, that's a great question, Jihad. And congratulations for pursuing a master's here at the university. Definitely, I would say not mention that you want to do a PhD, just mention that you want to do this master's, and then you want to go back home to teach specifically. That's a good, I would say, answer. But definitely pursuing a PhD right after the master's can be a little tricky because the visa officers can see that you are trying to stay and study longer. So definitely, I will mention that just do your masters and you plan to teach back home. Basically, that's the best answer that you can say, and you can even mention what really you want to teach, why you want to teach it back home, and and so forth. So definitely. I would not recommend to mention that you want to do a PhD after the master's right away in United States. So that can be tricky.
Just as a follow-up question as well, Jihan, I know it says that you work in the Ministry of Education. What is your role and how does that tie in with the masters that you want to pursue to teach at the university? Are they connected somehow? Because it does say you work in the Ministry of Education. So I'm just curious about what your role is like and how relevant that might be to the degree that you're seeking and how that can tie together with your job. So think about that. Think about that as you're preparing for your interview. Greetings, PJ, JJ, and everyone. This is Hosea Micah from Nigeria. Sorry for being late. Try to meet up with the time okay. Hosea, welcome in. If you missed out a chunk of the session in the beginning, we are currently live on YouTube as well. So you can always watch the recorded sessions after. It will be on YouTube. All right, JJ, this question. I
Yep.
have been asked about how I'm going to
So,
fund. I told her that my tuition is fully funded through a TA plus a monthly stipend. Another question was about why I'm doing a master's as a TA. I said to be a teacher trainer and materials writer. Then she quickly said, okay, so you want to be a teacher after getting the degree, the same as what you're doing now. She ended the interview and this is how it went. I think here is where I see the issue is if you already teach right now and you're coming here and you said, well, I want to be a teacher trainer, there really is no reason from a visa officer's perspective. When you answer it that way, it doesn't tell me really why this master's is going
It's
to
relevant.
elevate
Yeah.
your teaching
Elevate your professional development.
training. Yeah.
Yep.
So it just sounds like you're just coming to the US to just and then go back and do the same thing that you're doing. So I think what's important to highlight is really thinking about why you're doing the master's, because it says you're doing it to be a teacher trainer and a materials writer. If that's not something that you already do, mentioning that at the interview will be very important, is being like, I already am a teacher, but I really want to develop and grow more professionally, and which is why I'm doing this master, so I can have these extra skill sets on top of what I already have so that I can come back and be a better teacher. Something of that form. JJ, you want to add something?
Yeah, yes, I would recommend the same. So definitely, as you're looking at your career and what the degree here will award you when you go back and how it will elevate you back home, definitely you have to talk about that because, in the, like PJ said, in the visa officer perspective, you coming here to elevate your career and to become more professional in what you do. It's just not you coming here to just become a teacher. The education that you get here should be able to elevate your career. And then once you go home, you have more to offer to either your community and to the schools there. So definitely, I would say, whatever you're teaching right now, uh, try to look at that. What are you teaching? What this degree will offer you, and how, once you go back home, you can explain to the visa officer, it will get you where you want to be in your career, basically. So definitely look at it more than just become a teacher, but more of, what you can offer back to the community once you get this degree in the US. So yeah, I think there's another one. PJ, after how long do you recommend applying for the visa? Again, what if my program starts in August? That's a great question. I would say definitely, if your visa get denied, and let's say you're looking for another, visa appointment, I will say you can still try for the term, the term that you've been admitted in, but it's all about your feeling too. It's all about if you're feeling more confident. How is your training going? Have you attended a visa prep session here with us? So doing all those really, set you up for success. And even though, let's say, you got a visa denial and you see, oh, there's no visa appointment available at this moment, still come to the session because, like PJ mentioned, visa appointments open up all the time, so you gotta be prepared if you still want to come for the fall. And if you see, if we get in August and still no visa appointment, you are free to defer to spring 2026. That's no problem at all. But I would say definitely try, as we are almost very early, still for the fall 2025 semester. So definitely, you know, keep prepping, keep training yourself, attend schedule a visa prep session, look for the resources that we mentioned here in the presentation. And then, so as soon as you see an available appointment, you are right to go and do this interview.
Mohammed said there's a problem in the DS-160 review guide. Thank you for letting me know. I will go ahead and take a look at that. Someone asked for the whole visa prep session videos webinar. Again, this is all recorded and added to our YouTube channel. So, JJ, do you think you could add that in the chat? Our
Yep, I can
YouTube
do that right away. Yep.
channel. All of our live sessions that all of our webinars that we do are recorded on YouTube. And so after we're done with the session, it's going to be on YouTube and you can access it whenever you'd like. Mohammed said, last week I got a mail from Minnesota State University Mankato that visa appointment slots will reopen soon. The email that was sent out to you said that some places have already started resuming appointment slots. It didn't say that appointment slots will reopen soon. We as a university have no way of knowing how this is going to go and when or how soon they can open. And the reason why we sent that email out is because there were some countries where visa appointments were opening. Um, the best advice I can give you right now is to keep an eye on the news, and check for updates that way, which is exactly what we're doing. We have no other forms of communication with anybody that tells us when things like that are happening. So the best advice I can give you, Mohammed, is to keep an eye out on the news um, in your home country and see if there's an update, and also checking that global wait visa time link that we sent in the email and seeing if that's open for you. I have a diploma in culinary arts and I got admitted for food technology and processing, and my visa was denied. Last year in October, I was told that I don't need a bachelor's to work in the food industry. But now I rescheduled and changed courses to dietetics only because food technology got canceled. Do you have any advice for me, please? My interview is next month. For Anonymous, that is a great question. Have you looked at the dietetics program and the courses that are offered? Is there anything about this program that's different from the food technology and processing program that you had initially chosen? What stands out about dietetics? And how can you really tie it in a way where, because it looks like you do want to work in the food industry, but how can that elevate your professional career in your home country? What about this program is going to make you stand out from other people that are also in food industry? I think that's something that would be very good to think about. We are also nearing the time to end this session very soon, so we will only be able to go through a couple of questions
Questions? Yeah.
because we do not have enough time, but you can always join us for our next session. I'm just looking at my calendar. It looks like we have another visa denial session in July 16th. So that's a good time to bring back any other questions that you might have. Mohammed, I know you said you wanted a recording. JJ is going to share our YouTube channel, and that's where you can go.
Questions?
Oh, Hosea, thank you. JJ Hosea said that we're doing a great talking to everyone about the prep session thus far. Anonymous, may I know about on-campus part-time jobs? We will talk about on-campus jobs at our other sessions, so I encourage you to sign up for a different session because this one's primarily for visa denials. Is it okay to change my answers next time, like saying to become a professor in the university, or they have previous answers? I cannot fully confirm or deny what that looks like in the back end, because again, I've never worked as a visa officer. JJ has not either. We're just going off of our experience and having spoken with other visa officers that have worked in this industry before. I think it would be okay for you to change your answer a little bit to add to the answer what you feel was missing from the last time, if that makes sense. My program is pre-med, but in the I-20 it appears as biological sciences. So what should I say to the officer about my major, pre-med or biological sciences? So pre-med is a program that we cannot issue an I-20 for, which is why we have biological sciences. So I would speak more about biological sciences.
Yeah, then pre-med. Okay, so Ivy Ruto, what about applying for an expedite, especially with the current suspension of F1 visa application? It is safe on Ivy from Kenya. Hello, Ivy. Yes, I would say definitely if you can apply for an expedite appointment, you can do that. There's no issue in doing that. Just make sure, like I said, you are prepared once you schedule that visa interview. So
Because
yes, there
if your visa appointments and visa appointments are already open, then it's okay. Because if
it's okay.
there's still no visa appointments open, then you applying for an expedite really doesn't make any sense because there is no visa appointments to expedite. So just keep an eye on that.
An anonymous person said, also, is it okay to change my answer next time, like saying to become a professor in the university? I would say definitely if you're a normal teacher and you're getting a degree that can you become a professor in your home country, definitely that's something that you can mention because it's all about talk about the elevate of your career and better your professional development. So definitely that I don't think that's nothing wrong by saying that you will become a professor back home.
PJ, in the last webinar, you had mentioned creating a group for all of us to get in touch with each other. Any progress on that? So I do have a channel, WhatsApp channel created. I am actually going to test it out with JJ and some of my colleagues to make sure that they can actually attend the channel or like join the channel. If that works out fine, you guys will get an email from our office being like, hey, here's the WhatsApp channel, here's a link to uh, join the channel. So I will test it out today, and maybe you guys will get an email today about that. All right.
Okay.
I
We
think,
have about 4 more minutes,
yeah,
or we.
so I think we are going to end the session a little bit early today, JJ, just because we have a couple of meetings after this, and I think we both need to take a little bit of break before we get to that right away. So thank you so much for attending, guys. And I know we weren't able to get to everyone's questions, but you guys had really, really good questions, and I do want to let you guys know. The recorded session is going to be available on YouTube, so feel free to go and take a look at that. Oh, hold on. I will share the channel right now. Share channel. Okay. It is in the chat for you guys now. That is the Minnesota State University Mankato channel, JJ. That's not our channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let me see.
So this is the correct channel. Wow, great.
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Hold on. I got it. All right,
You
so
got
this
it.
is the
Okay.
correct channel. So this is where we go live. This is where you will receive all of the playlists. The other channel that JJ shared is also part of Minnesota State University Mankato, but this is for the official entire university. We focus more on the international part. So the link I sent you, you can go to the live section and you'll be able to see all of our previous sessions as well. Okay, with that, we will see you guys at the next time. All right, Hosea, I hope you have a good night. It's 5:50 where Hosea is, JJ. But we will see you guys next time. Thank you for joining. And if you have any other questions, JJ did share his email in the chat. You can also always email international@mnsu.edu. Okay, bye-bye.